So I seen the OG, The Devil Wears Prada. I had an idea of what more to expect from this one than the other one because having seen the second one, I was seeing the original characters. I'm kind of familiar with them in a weird way. When Miranda is being a douche, it's not really shocking. Andy is she's trying to get her career started. She wants to write for an editorial. In the second one, she did realize that dream. She had been living in that dream. She got fired, but she's trying to achieve that dream to begin with, and she ends up getting recommended for this job with Miranda, which she takes because she understands that it can open a lot of doors for her. So it's not her end goal. And it's interesting, as somebody who does feel like too much prestige gets put on name brand things and designer and all that, there is the other side of the fact that there are creators. Nigel gives a riveting monologue to Andy at some point in the movie because Andy's getting frustrated, and he's like, "Look, you want to get patted on the head for every good thing you do, and you have no reverence for where you are. Like there are people who have come through here who have become household names, like in the world. Like you think that you are above this, but you're not. Like, the only reason you feel that way is because you have no value for what they're doing. You have no perspective." And he's right. Because your average person can't just wake up, decide to become a worldwide sensation and just do that. And there was a speech that a monologue Miranda gives to Andy, where she explains to Andy, it's like, despite the fact that you think you're too good for the designer stuff and you just get by on your regular sweaters from Old Navy or whatever like that, she gave this history breakdown of how the particular article of clothing that Andy was wearing came to be. And it's like, even when you think you're not being influenced by us, you're being influenced by us. There's a level of justification on both sides of the line, because as Andy gets further and further into this world, she kind of starts to isolate from her friends and family. She turns kind of into a jerk. The movie's thesis does feel like ultimately is leading you to understand that while that world exists, it shouldn't be idolized. Miranda points out the ways in which she is similar and the ways in which she's done things the way that Miranda would do them. It's like, if you want to get to this level, these are the things you have to do, and you've been willing to do it. Faced with the impact of what she's done, she changes course. And that is why she's not like Miranda. That's the difference between her and people like Miranda. Miranda sees the cost of what she's done. She sees the impact and the harm she's caused, and she says, charges to the game. That's the way it is. And she presses on. And Andy says, now that I'm confronted with that cost, no, it's not worth it. I'm going to course correct. Being able to course correct is the difference maker between the two of them. I feel like I like the second one better. And I probably like the second one better because it is my first experience with the world. So this had to live up to the sequel rather than the sequel having to live up to the original. And I don't know if I would say the sequel is better. It hits notes that resonate with me a little more. It's a preference thing at that point. It's not. I'm not saying the movie is lesser for it for not having that. That's not what they're trying to accomplish. So it's fine. But as I'm watching the second movie and I'm comparing it to what I saw in the first movie, there are just some emotional highs and lows that are more in line with my lived experience and things that are important to me, and the kind of catharsis that I search for, than what was found in the first movie. This is Whiplash for fashion. Whiplash being the 2014 movie with Miles Teller. If you didn't know that, he's a drummer in that movie, and he wants to be the best drummer, and he comes in contact with J.K. Simmons' character. That's a whole thing. I really like Whiplash, and I like this movie. I haven't done the research, but I would believe that Devil Wears Prada is one of the shining examples. It's one of the things that set the standard for this kind of dynamic in a movie. It deserves to be held in the esteem it's been held in all these years. I will say that. Other than that, cool. So when Miranda walks on screen in this movie, I took one look at her and I was like, how have you not aged in 20 years?